back. Here's the deal. We are back. Uh, this show is dedicated to keeping the main thing the main thing. You know what I mean? So, as business owners, I think we can tend to get a little bit distracted. Um, there's a lot of things out there that gets your attention. They fight for your attention. So, when I say keeping the main thing in business, what does that really mean? What does that mean to you? Is the question, right? So whatever you got in business to do, whether you're a chef, whether you you're a mechanic or you're a podcaster, right? Like myself, you know, sometimes you can drift off course, right? I did. I was like, I want to provide great video content for everybody, right? And I got kind of a little bit sidetracked with that. But at the same time, the main thing that I do here is I run the show and I tell people stories. Okay. The two can coexist, but I have to do a better job of managing it. So that's on me. So that's my personal confession. I kind of drifted off course a little bit myself. So we're going to get things back on course. We're going to keep the main thing the main thing. In the military, we have this thing that's called front sight focused, right? So I need to stay front sight focused on what it is that I do. I'm the podcast guy. I'm the guy. I'm here's the deal. I'm telling to you straight. I'm here to educate, elevate, and inspire to get you to start your own business, or if you already have a business, how to take it to the next level. And I interview the best professionals that are out there that help provide services for your particular company. And we also tell stories of people who are running successful businesses and how they got started, all the pitfalls, everything that they ran into, how they you know improvised, adapt, overcame, all that. That's what we do here at Here's the Deal. And we provide quality video content for you to repurpose, for your marketing. So this conversation is all about, there's noise and signal, right? So like I said, when you're focused in on what it is that you do, and you're passionate about it, and you're going, right? Things are working. All right, things are going well, but then there's noise. Noise comes in and the shiny new thing comes around, like, oh, okay, something's new, it's techie, it trends, you know it's kind of like the new thing to do. And you can get it, like I said, you get a little off track on that. uh, the Forbes Fed surveys just released in like March of 25 shows that more small businesses reported revenue declines than gains in 24, highlighted by the peril of drifting off of a clear message and clear mission. Okay, now that's the thing. All they said, I run a podcast, right? I tell people stories. I entertain. We, like I said, we have a good time doing it, things like that. But at the same time, you know, we do work with clients on their video content, things like that. So, but you gotta stay in your groove and in your lane, because sales are falling flat, things are sliding sideways. It's your anchor, your core business that's going to be the reliable growth. Okay, stay anchored into what it is that you do. With, like, you hear the term all the time, stay in your lane, right? You do have to venture out. Okay, you do have to diversify. You got to do some different things, but it's going to be what your main offer is that's going to keep people coming back. And the more clear your message is, okay, the more people are going to gravitate to it, right? So, like I said, that's the thing. If you're a chef, and maybe, you want to, you're catering, you're doing things like that. And also, like, oh, the cool thing is to have a food truck. Okay, that is a revenue source. It's a diversification, things like that. But if you're going off doing the food truck all the time, and the catering is the main thing, well, I mean, you can lose your base and lose your core. All right. So that's the thing. You got to stay, that's got to be in the forefront of your mind. And you got to make sure that the clarity is there, and that, it's consistency matters, right? Consistency matters in everything that you do. You know, you definitely want to, like I said, you definitely want to diversify, and you want to, like I said, do different things, but it's all got to come back to the main focus. This is 76% of small business owners expect moderate to strong growth in 2025, but 30% will still rank cash flows among their top challenges, and only 13% cite revenue concerns, as growth alone isn't enough without financial discipline. That was a study from On Deck that just came out recently. So this is the thing. It's got to be all about staying focused and staying in your lane and keeping your cash flow consistent. But your main driver is going to do that. You can chase different revenue paths, okay, but is it going to be scalable, and is it going to be predictable? So that's going to be the thing. Again, like I said, I lost a little bit of a sight of it myself. So I'm preaching to myself on this particular show also, as I'm like banging microphones around. I'm all, and it's different for me too, because like I said, because I was, you know, a financial advisor with Charles Schwab and with Morgan Stanley, and I've been in banking for commercial bank for like 30 years, right? So diversification, we always talk about diversification, right? Always talk about diversification in your portfolio. Okay. You don't want to just be, all one particular stock or all one particular fund or all one particular sector, right? Because when that stock or that fund or that sector go down, okay, what's going to happen? Your portfolio is going to go down with it. But if your portfolio is diversified, okay, you can absorb some of those losses, because with some, maybe one sector's down, the other sector's up. So like I said, you can offset a lot of that. So I preached that for obviously for years, being a financial advisor, and then same thing in as a business banker, I'd be talking to my clients about, hey, you do this one thing, you do it really well, but having some other revenue stream, coming in, or would be a nice way to offset some things. Like I said, look at COVID, look at the whole supply chain issue, things like that. So if your supply chain is off on maybe this one particular way, or the way you deliver it, you couldn't get the stuff out. If you have a different delivery system, might be, like I said, another way to go to help work that out. So in that case, diversification is crucial. Okay. And like I said, or if you have one big contract or one big client, a lot of people have heard this a million times. I got this DoD contract, or I got this contract with Walmart, got this contract with Amazon. Well, guess what? Walmart just came down and said, instead of paying you every 60 days, we're going to pay you 180 days. And sorry about your luck. And we're Walmart, and we can do that. And you can do nothing about it. You can give up the contract or just accept it. What does that do to your cash flow? What does that do to your consistency of being able to pay your vendors and things like that? See, so that's where diversification comes in. Okay, and it's got to be done. But when you diversify from your main thing, okay, it's got to tie back into the main thing. For myself, providing video content for other business owners still ties into the main thing here, into the podcast. Okay, because of the fact that I can have them on as a guest, we can do it from that route, or I can shoot some different things. But it's about the balance too. Like I said, I got a little off centered, and my balance got a little bit off, right? So that's where I'm going to bring it back on, bring everything back online for the podcast itself. But having that diversified revenue stream of being able to I'm going out and doing some commercials for some people and talking to people about doing, some different reel packages and things like that. All great. I'm working with my business coach. We're trying to align things like that. And you'll see Eric on the show. Like I said, we partner up on a lot of different things. So Eric Whitmore, we're working on making sure it flows in a rhythm, and just I don't go one way or the other. So that's where that's where it can be key. I was looking at this thing from like Goldman Sachs, and like 24 and 25, they're warning about extreme concentration risks, like we just talked about. Top 10 S&P 500 firms now account for 30% of the market cap, and advocate broadening both geographical and sector exposure. That was from SSGA that did that, got that research from Goldman Sachs. So similarly in business, diversification of revenue like I said, it has to reinforce what it is your main product is. It has to reinforce what you're doing. Like me going out and diversifying, doing the reels, okay, ties everything back in to the podcast and bringing people on and telling people stories and educating somebody else who's out there. There could be somebody out there that's working at a desk saying, "Hey, you know what? I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I heard the story of, let's say, Daphne from Modern Grind, right? She was a school teacher, still wanted to start her own coffee shop. Now she's working on number 3. Okay. And she went through hell to make that happen. Okay. That woman went through hell. Um, but it's happening. Okay. And she did it and she persevered. That story is very compelling. So again, that's on the YouTube channel. Go back and check that story out. You want some inspiration? Go check out Daphne Kelly from Modern Grind. She's awesome. So these are the things. You can go out and do different things. I can go out and do the reels and the commercials for people, things like that. But tying everything back into the show, and it reinforces what the show does because I get more quality guests. I get to tell other people's stories. And it, like I said, if I can go out and inspire somebody who's sitting at a 9 to 5, or if somebody started a business and they're stuck, right? They're stagnant. What do I do? Where's the next step? If I bring on certain people, certain coaches, certain, CFOs, things like that, or maybe, who have a different, teach about people how to use, like, Google ads and Meta ads, things like that. That could be the next key factor to get you, get your business to, not be stuck. So these are the things that I need to stay focused on to provide that for the audience. Okay. And that's, like I said, definitely recommitting to that. So, I want you guys to stay tuned because we're going to have on more, more fabulous guests. We're going to do, like I said, I'm going to do this in a 3-part series. We're going to go over, like I said, we talked about keeping the main thing, but then we're also going to talk about how you diversify properly, things like that. And we're going to get into all those kind of things. So here's what I'm asking you guys. Here's the call to action here. This is, what is your main thing right now? We need to know, like, what is that main thing that you're doing? What's one thing you're doing this week that's pulling you away from that? Okay. You got to be cognizant of these things. And what can you do to delegate, pause, or delete, or recenter your business? Okay. If you started spinning off course, what are you going to do to hit the reset button? That's my question to you. Okay. So again, what is your main thing? Keep, like I said, let's continue staying focused on that. Anything that's a single client sector contributing to 25 to 30% of your total revenue. That's, like I said, that's going to be, your main thing here. So, at least that. So, and the distractions, like I said, the noise. Okay. The noise. What are you staying on signal, or is it going to be noise? Even like I said, delivering this message, I was kind of going on. I had some certain points I wanted to bring in, things like that. But like I said, we're just going to keep soldiering on, right? We're going to keep driving on. Like I said, stay focused, stay front sight focused, keep the main thing. Definitely look for opportunities, though. Definitely look for ways you can expose the brand and, broaden the brand. No doubt about it. Critical, got to do it. But now you got to really stay focused on what's your main breadwinner. And if you're going to do something on the side, okay, does it tie in to your message? Keeping your message clear. So if you take anything from the show today, clarity of message, and is your new revenue source tying back in to the main revenue source? Okay, take those two things, okay, from this particular show, if nothing else. And like I said, remember, there's a difference between signal and noise. Okay, stay on signal.